Okay guys, so in today's video we are going to be completely dismantling this aquarium. This is a used aquarium that I got from somebody that I know, and it housed reptiles its entire life, so it's actually never held water. So what I did was I cut the inside beads of silicone off and resealed it. And what happened when I filled up the tank with water is where the panes of glass butt together, that bead of silicone, which I do not cut off when I reseal aquariums, it started to peel away from the pieces of glass, and air started getting in between there, and it looked like the tank was going to explode, and it started leaking water onto the floor. So what we're going to do to fix that is we are going to cut the trim off the top. We're going to dismantle all of the panes of glass, scrape all of the silicone off of every piece, and then we are going to completely reassemble this tank. So it's going to be basically a tank restoration. So let's get this tank off the stand, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Okay, so now that we have it on the ground, off of the stand, I always recommend, if you're doing this for the first time, put down a blanket or a sheet or something to, make sure the glass doesn't hit the concrete, because it will break on you if you do that. And then, we're going to cut all the trim off the top, separate them piece by piece, and then I'll show you how I do that. Okay guys, so the first step to this, obviously, is figure out a game plan. Once you cut the trim off of the tank, it's much more vulnerable to, let's say, pieces peeling off, depending on how old the tank is. So just be careful with that. But like I said, the first step is cutting the trim off, and that's obviously going to be this black edge all around here. That's the trim. It's got a trim all the way around the bottom as well, and that will come off in 4 pieces for the top and 4 pieces for the bottom. 2 fronts, 2 backs, and then 2 for each left and right side of the tank. So what I do is I just use this painter's tool. Nothing crazy, super cheap. I got this one at Harbor Freight for probably $2, and I use this end right here, and I just jam it up under the trim and just rake all of that silicone that I can off the edges of it. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. Okay guys, so the next phase of this little tank restoration we got going on here is going to be using a razor blade scraper to get under the edge of all of the plastic trim from the inside and places that you missed with the painter's tool on the outside, things like that. You just want to try to basically break all the silicone that is holding the trim pieces on, which from the factory is not going to be very much. But somebody has sealed this all up under the bottom of the tank, probably because it leaked. And so there's just a lot. Also, one thing, wear gloves when using razor blades, and also wear some sort of safety glasses. I have a tendency of breaking razor blades when I'm doing this, just because I'm, pressing really hard and prying, things like that. And you do not want razor blade shrapnel in your eye. So, use your safety stuff. You'll be a lot better off in the long run. So, anyways, let's get to cutting this thing. See? Perfect example right there, broken razor blade. Make sure you retrieve your pieces of broken razor blade, that way you don't run your fingers under here on accident and end up slicing the tips of them all up. Okay guys, so once you've been cutting on this rim for a while on the inside and outside, and you think you've cut as much silicone as you possibly can, what you're going to want to try to do is, without using any metal prying tools, because that is prone to breaking the glass because the metal's much harder than the glass, try to wedge something like maybe a piece of piece of wood, or if you have like some sort of plastic tool that you can stick in there and pry a little bit, just to get the trim started to come off, and then you will be able to start pulling the trim off. So let's see what we got. Alright, one more piece of trim. Once you get this far, it's much easier to get under and go around the whole edge. It's the first piece that's a pain. Okay, so at this point you can see I obviously have the top rim of the tank pulled off. So now I've laid a towel down over there, and I'm going to tilt this tank up on end so I can work at the bottom trim. Okay, so now it's a little bit easier to get, you know, access to this bottom portion. You can really get after this stuff. You just got a really good angle, so I like doing it like this. And so yeah, so it's basically a repeat process of the top rim. Cut your edges of silicone wherever you can, from the front, from the bottom, sides, everything, and then try to get one panel off, and then when you get one panel off, then you can work all the way around. It's much easier. So hardest part is getting that one panel going. So we'll get to sawing on this thing and see what we got. Okay, so I've got a little piece of this panel, or excuse me, trim, peeled off. So let's get this one off and see if we can start the other ones from this one. Okay guys, so now we have almost all of the trim off of this tank finally, and I got one piece left, and what we're going to do is we're going to drag the tank over and then lay it down on its top, on top of the towel, and then we're going to cut that last piece of trim off, and then after that we will get to separating the panes of glass. Okay guys, so now that I've gotten all the trim off of this tank, you know, the next step is going to be to flip it back over onto its bottom, and then we will start cutting the panes of glass individually off of one another, and then I will show you how to do that. And so let's just get this thing flipped over and then we can get going on it. Alright, at this point we are ready to separate the panes of glass. When I do this, and now don't get me wrong, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, it's just how I do it. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to separate either the back panel or the front panel first. Don't try to take the sides out. And you know, like I said, you don't have to do it that way. This is how I do it. And what you're going to do is you're going to run a razor blade along the seam of each pane of glass, and then that will release the silicone, and you will be able to remove the glass at that point. Hey, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but when you're putting the razor blade between the panes of glass and you got it in there, it's gonna look something like this. You can see how you can see the razor blade right here. That's actually between the panes of glass, and you're just gonna want to push in very gently and just kind of slide the razor blade down like so, and that's gonna separate the panes of glass. It's gonna break that silicone seal, and that's what it's gonna take to get this tank apart. I have clamps on here that I'm going to show you in a minute. that I use to kind of just hold the tank together while I'm cutting the first panel off. After you cut the first one off, you're probably not going to need these. They come in handy when you're by yourself doing this stuff, so maybe look into those. Alright, so let's get this front pane of glass off of here. Okay, and then you gently pull out, and this pane of glass will separate from the bottom. Okay, now we've got it off. So that's the first piece of glass, and we've got 3 more to go. So, you know, at this point it gets a lot easier because then you're just working on 1 bead of silicone at a time. So, you know, the first one's always the hardest to get off, same with the trim. So, you know, make sure you have a nice padded surface when you're doing this. You know, a wooden workbench would work excellent for this. I don't have one of those at the moment, although I could build one of those. But yeah, so just make sure your floor is covered, because if this glass hits the concrete at any point in time, especially with the trim off of it, it's probably going to break. So just be careful. If you've come this far and done all this work, you might as well take your time and be safe. So yeah, so I'm going to move this to the side, and then we'll cut some more panels off. Okay guys, so at this point we have the front panel cut off. Obviously you can see it laying here on the floor. And then the next step is going to be cut either one of the end plates off, the shorter plates. And then, you know, you'll just keep working your way around. And on the last piece it gets a little bit sketchy, because then you have 2 pieces of loose glass in your hands. And at that point you're going to want stuff such as a towel or a sheet or something like that on the ground all around you. That way you can gently lay the pieces of glass down as you cut them off. It's really good to have somebody to help you do this. If you don't, like I do, at this point in time, you know, you just got to do it yourself, and you got to figure it out. So, okay, so I've got my towels laid down so I can set my pieces of glass gently onto them, and that way they don't break. So let's get to cutting some more of these off. Okay guys, so as you can see, the tank is completely cut apart. I obviously still have silicone everywhere, but I mean, that's how you do it by yourself. It's not too bad. You know, you just got to be careful, you know, and be safe with your glass, because if you break one of these, then this whole thing is pointless. So just take extra time to be super careful with that. And then, you know, at this point it's really simple, it's straightforward. You just scrape every bit of silicone you can off those glass pieces. And I clean mine with rubbing alcohol, acetone works, things like that. I'm sure there's silicone specific removers. I don't really use those because rubbing alcohol is kind of like an all-in-one. It helps dissolve the silicone, and it also cleans the glass and preps it for the new silicone. So, you know, I'm not going to show you guys scraping the glass. It's really straightforward. Get a razor blade scraper, scrape it off till it's clean, and you're good. So we'll get that done, come back, and then I'll show you guys how to prep this for silicone and reinstallation. Okay guys, so after many hours, I think about 4 of them, I finally got all the glass, scraped. And you're going to want to remove every single bit of silicone on that glass, because new silicone will not bond to old existing silicone. So every freaking square inch of this thing needs to be scraped perfectly and cleaned perfectly. That way the new silicone can bond directly to the glass. I use isopropyl alcohol for that. It seems to get all the impurities like fingerprints and oils and whatever else may be on your glass. You do not want any contaminants when you're doing this, especially with a larger tank. You know, if you're putting together a 5-gallon tank, it probably doesn't matter so much, but when you're talking about 800 pounds, 900 pounds of water, it's going to be critical. So anyways, like I said, I got all this stuff scraped, so I'm going to lay out all the glass pieces on this nice bed of blankets here, and then wipe them down one more time, and then we'll get to gluing this thing back together. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so now with all the glass laid down, we're going to do one final wipe down with alcohol, and at that point we are ready to start gluing, and I will show you guys the process in just a moment. Okay guys, so we've got this glass all taped off, ready to go. So you know, that's kind of what it looks like just around the edges, just so you can get a nice clean bead of silicone. And then at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to use rubbing alcohol to wipe down the edges, like I've said many times before, just to prep the surface for silicone. And after that we're ready to put this thing together, so stay tuned. Okay guys, so now we're ready to start siliconing. I've prepped it, we've taped it, we're clean, we're ready to go. I've got my angle cut on my silicone. I'm using 100% silicone by DAP. It's clear. That's the kind I prefer. I don't really prefer the black, although sometimes it does look good. So let's get to doing this. And what you're going to want to do is around this center piece here, you go all the way around the edge of this piece, and then up the sides here and here on both the front and the back panel. And that's going to be exactly what you're going to need. Now, I'm not saying that that's the right way to do it. That's just how I do it. It works for me. So yeah, let's get the silicone on here, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like to assemble this tank. Okay, so at this point we just stick the glass together, and then we'll tape the edges and make sure it doesn't fall over, and then we wait. Okay, so now I've cleaned it up just a little bit. What you're going to want to do while the silicone is still, you know, before it skins, which means before the outer portion that's exposed to air starts to cure, you want to put your inside beads all in the main seal. So let's do that. Okay, so before the silicone starts to set up, you're going to want to peel your tape off. Okay guys, so yeah, here it is. Nothing beautiful, nothing special, but you know what? It's gonna work. It's gonna seal, because you know, that's definitely gonna be better than the way it was before, which was leaking. And you can see, right, come on, focus in. The silicone is completely sealed all the way around all these cracks, or you know, where it was getting air in before. There are no bubbles. There's a little bit of silicone on the outside, but so I'm really hopeful that this is going to seal. This is definitely the biggest aquarium I've resealed. So, you know, we're going to let this cure for 48 hours, after which I will clean up all the silicone that's, you know, I've touched around places that's, you know, just I don't need. And then we'll glue the trim on. And then, yeah, we'll fill it with water and see what we got. So, stay tuned. Okay, guys, so this is the final stage to Project Resto tank we got going on here. It's been 2 days since I applied the silicone, and she's set up just the way it's supposed to be. So at this point I'm going to glue the trim on, and I'm going to be using a little bit of Marineland aquarium sealant. You know, may not be the best stuff. It's actually kind of expensive for a small tube, but that's what I had left, and we're just going to rock it. So let's get this trim on, and we can complete this thing and put some fish in here. Alright, let's flip it and do the bottom side. Okay, guys, so it is Wednesday, which makes it, I think, about day 4 or 5 or something like that. So the silicone in the tank is well cured, and I just glued the bottoms on tomorrow, as we saw previously. So now I'm going to take the tape off of the trim. We'll flip it over, we'll get it on the stand, we'll get the tank level and stuff like that, as level as we can, and then, well, I guess at that point we'll just fill it with water. Okay guys, so this is the moment of truth. We'll get to filling this thing up and see if I did my job correctly. If I didn't, I'm probably going to throw a rock through this tank. Just kidding. Alright, water's going in. Fingers crossed. Well, so far it holds water. I guess we'll see. I probably won't put fish in it today. Probably leave that till tomorrow just to make sure this thing's actually going to hold water. So, yeah. We'll see how she goes. Okay, guys. So, I've got the 110 all done, as you can see. I got the background painted black. I've got the sun filter on it. I've got the heater in it. We're all ready to go. Water's up to temperature. I've got pre-cycled media all in the filter. So at this point, we're ready to transfer fish. So what's going to happen here is all of the fish out of this tank are going to be transferred into this tank. The tank on the left that they are in is a 75-gallon, which is too small. And the tank on the right is a 110-gallon, which is a little bit bigger, still too small, but it's better than nothing. And then I'll have a lot more room for some other fish. So this is always a stressful time, especially catching fish that are, well, much bigger than the net you're using. So this ought to be fun. So stay tuned. I'm going to yank these guys out, see what we got, and then, yeah, wish me luck. Okay guys, so this is day 3 with the fish in here. Sorry about the glare, it's middle of the day right now, it's almost impossible to keep it off there, but yeah, so they're getting used to their new home. Obviously it's a bare bottom tank. I don't have any, you know, sand, decor, wood, plants, nothing. It's just going to be bare bottom, and that's how I'm going to leave it. I find that for bigger fish, they don't really need the gravel and all the, you know, decor, wood, and whatever else you're going to put in there. I like them bare bottom. It's easy to keep track of the health of the fish. It's easy to keep the tank clean, and it's I don't know. I just like the way it looks. So we're going to be rocking this one bare bottom. It's a little bit murky in there. I'm going to change the water today again. But yeah, they seem to be doing good. The tank hasn't leaked a single drop, and you know, it's just, it worked. So that's always good. You know, it's better than, you know, throwing the tank away because it leaked a little bit of water. It is a lot of work, and you need to be really careful when you're cutting apart glass and using razor blades and things like that. It's very easy to cut yourself, and that's why the safety equipment is a must. But yeah, you know, I'm running on this tank, I'm running a Sun 304B canister filter. I'm running a little Rio 600 power head to just push any debris from the bottom. That pump's actually right about here, and it pushes all of the debris over to this side, which gets picked up by the filter, which is over there. And then I've got an air stone in there, and you know, just a 300-watt heater, and that's it. It's real simple, nothing extravagant, and you know, this isn't the updated lighting. I'm gonna turn it over to LED right now. I'm just showing you guys kind of what it looks like. But yeah, for the most part, this thing's done. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that if you guys attempt to try this, that you know that it's a lot of work and you need to be careful, but you can do it. I've done this quite a few times, and it's worked every single time. Like I said earlier in the video, this was one of the larger tanks I've ever resealed. So I was a little bit nervous about that, but you know what? It came out good, and I'm happy with the results so far, and the fish seem to be doing real well. So that is always the main priority. So anyways, you guys have a good one, and we will catch you on the next one. Later.